Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Bikini and the Brain podcast. My name is Ashley Kaltwasser, and here to my left is Adam Bonilla from TeamElitePhysique.com.
Hello,
Dot com.
everyone. Hello,
Dot
everyone.
com.
How is everyone doing today? I hope you're doing great and had a good weekend. I'm excited. We had a fun weekend this weekend.
Yeah, every weekend is fun.
Yes, we did. So fun time. Ashley got some new
I
wheels.
got new wheels.
That's exciting.
New wheels.
And I just did my normal stuff. But we had, of course, we had Universe over the weekend. So got a new Pro over the weekend, which is great.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Congrats, everyone.
Yes. So yeah, congrats, Joanna. She got her Pro card. And we have everyone getting ready now for Masters Nationals, a whole bunch going on. Vancouver Pros this weekend. There's a whole lot going on this weekend. So
yes. And speaking of Vancouver Pro, just giving you guys a little heads up here. There will be no podcast next week because we will be flying back home. It's a Sunday show. So by the time we get on a plane in the morning, the next day, it'll already be Monday. So we won't be able to do that. So sorry to disappoint everyone, but we'll be back the following week. So
yep.
We didn't retire. We're just taking 1 week off.
So if you're in Vancouver, come say hi. We're gonna have some fun at the Vancouver Pro. I love going to the Vancouver Pro. It's one of my favorite shows. I know it's one of your favorite shows for sure.
Yeah. I love the Canadians. They're just extra friendly for whatever reason. They really seem to like us. So
yes. So, and speaking of which, we are talking about traveling today and staying fit while traveling. Ashley, you're an expert at this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you travel even when you're not doing shows. You travel for seminars and whatnot. I mean, I would say, gosh, what do you think? 10 seminars and 12 shows and whatever travels a year. So 20 something times a year, probably 20 something, half the weekends of the year.
Yeah. I mean, maybe more like 25%. It depends on the year. Like right now it's a super busy time for me, but in the winter, not as much, but still at least once a week, once a month, I would travel at least, even when it's like winter time. So yes, I travel a lot.
Yeah, for sure. You're racking up those miles. So with that, we're going to go into just, some tips. And on this one, let's make it add your extra questions in there, make it a viewer kind of podcast. Because this one is there's going to be a lot of questions about traveling, I think, too, and what to do when you're traveling and ways to get around things. So
absolutely. Yeah. So I think a lot of people overthink the travel and staying fit while traveling thing. A lot of people stress about it. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm 12 weeks from a show or 8 weeks from a show. And I got this trip planned. I've had a plan for the last 6 months. What do I do? And I really do think that people just unnecessarily stress out about it because you can stay fit while traveling for the most part. You're not going to backtrack unless you really, really mess up. But we have some tips for you to guide you along the way to make sure that your travel is as fit as possible.
Yeah. And so with that, let's go ahead and jump in to the first one, Ash.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say it's very important when we're taking a look at our training. It's important to, I think, stick with it. I think when we're, on vacation or traveling, it can be very, very difficult to maintain your routine. But if you can maintain it as close as possible, that is ideal. I would suggest you blocking out time in your vacation day to work out. Now, if it were me, I would do it first thing in the morning. That way I have the rest of the day to relax, enjoy, and not stress about getting my workout in because it's already done.
Yeah. And I think some of that goes into the pre-planning of it. If this is important to you and let's say you're getting ready for a competition, one of the things that I run into with competitors all the time is they'll reach out, they'll want to do a show and they'll say, oh, well, I'm going to do it after I get back from vacation or after this or after my friend's wedding, or it's always an after, right? And I'm like, well, here's the thing. When you're competing, it's going to take you, 4 months to get ready for a show, sometimes 6 months. It just depends on, where you're at. You tell me a period in your life of 4 months straight where something doesn't come up, right? It just doesn't happen. So something's always going to come up. Something's always going to get kind of, if you want to call it, in the way. There's just never going to be a time where there's just every weekend is just free for working out. You're at home. There's nothing that came up, no car issues, no anything, right? Something's going to come up. So this is something you're just going to have to figure out and work into your schedule. And I think that the people around you are also need to be aware of that. If you're traveling and you're traveling with someone or on vacation with someone, just let them know before you go to the vacation. Hey, on every morning, I'm going to wake up. I'll probably wake up an hour before you. I'm going to go to the hotel gym. It's going to take me an hour. You won't even know it, or whatever the case is, and go work out. Or with that person, something I used to love doing, which was planning my workouts and finding the cool gyms,
Mm-hmm.
which is, I'm in the fitness world, and Kimber would be all on board with that with me. She'd be, there'd never be any issues. But if you're not in that position, hotel gyms are fine. Planet Fitnesses are everywhere.
Yes, which is a good point. Planet Fitness, man, is clutch. I get it. It's not the most, I guess, exciting or bodybuilder friendly vibes there, but I have never been to a city in the USA or Canada that I was traveling to that there wasn't a Planet Fitness within 10 minutes of wherever I was. So I have the membership to where I can just go to any Planet Fitness and there will be one within 10 minutes. Even Canada, when we went to Vancouver last year, there's a Planet Fitness there. So it's nice to have that membership because I don't have to like worry so much about it. The only show that I went to that didn't have one was Japan, for obvious reasons, but it's pretty much like a solid membership. I mean, if you're somebody that always travels, and I think that's one reason why you have one is just knowing that like, hey, no matter where we go, whatever city we're at in the USA, there's probably one super close. Like we don't have to go through the process of finding a gym, signing the freaking waiver, going through all of that. Like it's a lot. Sometimes I just want to go work out. I don't want to sign papers and explore the gym. And, I just want to work out.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit different from you. You're a gym connoisseur. You like to go to new gyms and experience. And that's one way to do it if you want to take a little more time out of your day to find a gym and experience that. But for me, even just Planet Fitness is great. Hotel gyms are fine. Like, will I have a full leg day on a hotel gym? Probably not. They're usually a little smaller, but hey, I'll do upper body. So if you're in one of those scenarios, it's like, listen, this is what I would do too, is I would try to get as many workouts done before I leave as possible so I don't even have to worry about it, especially with cardio. Like I don't want to save my cardio till like the end when I have to leave for my trip. No, if it were me and my coach was like, okay, we need 4 days of cardio per week, I'd be like, I'm just going to do extra cardio before I leave so I don't even have to stress or think about it once I get there. Because when we're traveling, we don't want to, it's more about the experience, not about your prep. Like you want to obviously stay in good shape and maintain and get as close as you can with your regular routine, but you don't want it to be like the main focus of your trip, unless you're like Adam, who likes to do that.
But I do like to do that. Yeah. So, and that brings up another good point too. Cause I have this with a few of my athletes that are waiting right now. So, planning your deload around your workouts. You actually brought up a good thing around your trips. I have a couple clients like, oh, I'm going to go on a vacation in, where are we at in August? So they'll be like a September or something. I have a vacation in September or October. Like, all right, let's progress into that. There's no signs that you need to deload right now. So let's kind of progress you into that. Let's keep working harder and harder and harder and don't back off at all. Let's just progress into that. And then when it comes to your vacation week, I want you to fully relax your mind, relax your body, let your joints recover, and actually take a deload that week. So it kind of gives them a goal. Okay, I know I'm deloading at this point, so I'm going to work really hard until then. Because there's something about knowing you're going to be taking a break where it just makes you want to work harder because you want to like not fall apart on the deload, right? So a lot of them have this, 6 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, whatever, we're going to deload for that week. And it just makes a really nice scenario because I want people to miss the gym. That's like the important part of a deload for me for most of it. Yeah, I want to resensitize them to exercise and I want to do it because their body needs it, but it's the mind is such an important part of it. And when someone misses the gym, the intensity goes up. When someone feels like a little off, like when I feel a little off, I feel a little squishy. I'm like, okay, I need to get back into the gym because I'm like, man, I feel fat. I want to get back to the gym. That's really what it is. And so I just like them having that the feeling of missing the gym too. So when you have that vacation, your mind's relaxed, you just come back and you're ready. You just feel ready to go, and I get a good, 6-12 weeks out of them from that point too. So plan it, if that's something that works for you, plan your deload then and have that full week off for your family or whatever for your vacation.
Yes, but that is something that you better tell your coach sooner rather than later so you can prepare for it. But I like that idea a lot. I think that's great. That way there's like literally like no stress. You don't have to feel guilt like, oh, I didn't get a chance to work out or do my cardio. I would also say it's probably a good idea just in case to bring some resistance bands, even a jump rope, something like that. Because hey, if you're depending on that hotel gym and let's say you slept in or something, I don't know. It's nice just to kind of do some quick workouts, or if that hotel gym is like crowded and there's a whole bunch of really hairy, smelly people in the gym, and you're just like, you know what, this is like the size of a closet. I'm not going to get a good workout here. It's not going to hurt you to do a few workouts with the resistance bands. It's not like you're going to lose muscle within that few days, but a good attempt is I guess what's most important. Try to make the intensity as good as possible given your resistance bands or given your scenario. So that's just an option. I always bring resistance bands with me, even if I plan on training, just because I know how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you sleep in, sometimes that hotel gym is crowded, sometimes, you just want to enjoy more of the vacation, just want to make it more time efficient. So that's one thing that you can do. I would also say, like, when it comes to your activity, you might be able to substitute even steps for your cardio, because at the end of the day it's more about the calories burnt, not necessarily like the cardio equipment that you use. So if your plans on vacation is to hike, I don't know, 6 miles into a trail, I don't know if you're one of those outdoorsy people, or go bike riding, you can substitute that for cardio. I would just say make sure you bring a calorie tracker watch so that you can kind of mimic the calories that you would burn with your regular cardio.
Yeah, you know what? That actually brings up a good point. Sometimes during those like deload weeks, I'll still have people do their step counts because I don't want them to completely go,
Right.
away. So if they're doing an average of, I just have them maintain their step count for the most. So if they were doing 6 before and they're on vacation, I'll have them, do 6. And if they get a little more, great, because they're on vacation. But I say stay out of the gym to do those cardios. I want, when someone does a deload, especially if they're on vacation, I want them completely out of the gym.
Yeah.
Unless you're visiting Vegas and you can't, it's 120 degrees out here, then maybe you should go to the gym and get your steps in if that's the only way. Go to a mall or something. There's a lot of walking around indoors at these malls here. But actually, one of our questions was, how are we dealing with the heat wave?
Oh, it's rough out here.
You know what's funny? They said after 3 years of living here, like, you just don't notice it as much. You're outdoors more than I am, so you notice it a little bit more. But I don't mind it anymore. I'm like, whatever. The way I think of it, you know what? You as of recently in your life have been more spoiled than me, though, because you were living in California and I was living in Denver. So for me, I was saying I'd rather trade a hot summer than a cold winter any day of the
Oh
week.
yeah, me too.
100% of the time. I'm not slipping on ice. I'm not getting my car like iced off. Like, that's the one. I knew I couldn't live in Denver forever because of that. Even though I love Denver, I knew that was one day I had to leave there. It was just not possible. But trading a hot summer for a cold winter, I'm good with that. That's
Oh
a good
yeah,
trade.
yeah, me too. I mean, I'm from Ohio, so like I know what it is like to have a cold winter, and especially in Ohio, we don't get as much sun as Colorado, so that's another thing too. Be gloomy all the time in the winter. But yeah, I agree. I would rather it be hot. I'm not trying to complain too much, but yeah, it's a little rough. But
120's pushing it. 120 yesterday.
Yeah.
There was the hottest it's ever been yesterday. 120. I was
yes.
inside most of the time. I actually went in the pool. And the pool, what's crazy is the pool was like 90 degrees.
Oh.
I mean, it was warm. It was like body temperature warm. Like, I got in and it felt like, it didn't feel like pool water. It just felt like bath water. It was, yeah, it's crazy how hot that get. Patrick said the same thing. Patrick says that he was like, yeah, my pool was like, he's like, it wasn't, my heater wasn't on. It felt like the heater was on. So anyway, yeah. So that's our first question, is about the heat, which is funny.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually got some good questions in here, and we will dive into those on these questions here that came in on YouTube. If you're on Instagram, I'm not seeing the questions. This is our first time going live on Instagram. So sorry, I'm not seeing any of your questions on Instagram. If you're asking any of them, hop over to youtube.com/Team Elite Physique, and then you can ask the questions here. We're gonna try to go into a few of these questions. Now, one of them is a tricky one because this is going to be very like case by case, but I'm seeing this question come up a few times here. It says, how long does it take to revert to pre-travel physique as it relates to swelling, bloating due to travel and destination? So here's the thing. That's going to be very per person and also per destination. As we said, we're in Colorado. We're in Vegas here. Very dry, very dry. It's a dry heat. If you came from an area, so example would be Elizabeth was on an island and very humid there. She was perfect condition. She came to Vegas the week of the show. She was here for a week and she like dried out. We had to feed her, trying to get her softer because she just started drying out because the humidity change was, really hot and also really dry. Now, she was here and she was in perfect condition and she went to her island, we would probably have to be kind of dieting into that week. So it's also per location, it's per person, per sensitivity, and per timing. It seems like sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. What I find to be best is just keep your fluids high, even on the plane. Some people wear compression socks for the legs. I don't see a big difference between those. Honestly, I see it being like it's pretty still 50 50 if it's going to happen or not.
I think they work.
You think they do?
I've
Yeah.
I used to swell up in my ankles for whatever reason. It was a thing because like when I would wear ankle socks, I could see like where the line of my sock started and stopped. It was weird. It was like ooh, but compression socks fix that.
At least in the ankle, like the lower leg,
Yeah,
but
just
not
the
in the,
lower.
okay.
It's not gonna do much else. But
Yeah.
if you're one that gets the puffy ankles, yeah, it
Yeah,
helps.
I've seen it work like there mostly, but not any.
Yes.
I guess it was referring as everywhere else.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
doesn't like stop everywhere, but people wear that. I mean, I guess it's like a full compression suit. I don't know, like a what is this, a diving suit, just super
Yeah.
tight. I don't know. It seems to be very person by person, and I would say it happens less than 50% of the time for most people. But
Mhm.
stay moving on the plane. Get up a few times, drink your water, and make sure you're getting moving when you get off the plane too. And if that happens, get a good sweat going, go in a sauna, go to the gym, go walk outside with a hoodie on, just get some things to get some water moving, maybe some dandelion tea too. I'm never a fan of like just full diuretics unless someone absolutely needs them or they're used to them already. But, dandelion tea and things like that really do make a little difference to it. So that can
Yeah.
help.
I would also say it probably depends on the person as well. For whatever reason, I used to swell up like crazy when traveling, not so much anymore. Yeah, like I said, I could even see sometimes where my socks started and stopped, and it was like uncomfortable, crunchy ankles, like puffy. And now I don't really experience that as much, but I know that there's people that definitely like do. And, it's one of those things that might even mess with your head a little bit. So, when we're on vacation, I don't know what you feel about this, but I wouldn't tell anyone to like weigh themselves, because it's gonna not be accurate.
Yeah.
Because the scales at the hotels, every scale is different. My scale at home can be 2 pounds off from Adam's. Adam's scale can be 2 pounds off from another gym. That's going to mess with your head to begin with. And I also would say don't bring your scale. That's unless it's a food scale, you can bring a food scale if you want. But to bring an actual body weight scale, I think is a little crazy.
Yeah.
Is that
100%.
rude to say? It's a
it,
little
well,
much. We don't
also
need to do that.
based on your location on Earth, you're lighter and heavier too.
Oh, that's interesting. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go into it. This is kind of fun. Maybe some people will be learning something here. So the Earth is somewhat sphere, right?
Uh-huh.
So if you're looking at the top, so if you're measured for your most accurate weight would be on the very center of North America or South America, the very top of the line, because that's the least speed of movement. Now, if you look at because the Earth's rotating, right?
Mm-hmm.
So based on the gravitational pull, so if you're in the middle, exactly in the middle of latitude or longitude, right in the equator. If you're right in the middle of the equator, you're actually spinning faster there because does it make sense?
Yeah.
Because you're spinning like more miles per hour because you're covering more distance.
I wonder how much of a difference that makes.
I
Maybe
heard it
like
was like
0.3 or something.
no, I heard it was like 3 pounds.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
but
crazy.
I'm sure it's different per person because think about it, like the Earth is spinning.
Yeah,
you're covering more distance. You're spinning faster there, so because you're spinning faster, you're lighter. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Oh, wow. I learned something new today. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
And even if I did, like, I would not have expected to be that much. I would have been like, oh, maybe 0.3, 0.2, but that's pretty significant.
I doubt someone has done it, but that's what I've heard about it. It's like it's like that percentage, like a couple percent or like 1 point something percent.
Jeez, that's significant, especially if you're prepping and like monitoring it that closely. Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so if you're in Canada and you go to Mexico, that's you're covering some distance. That might be half that or whatever. So
yeah. So in summary, let's just not worry about the weight until you're home for a few days, because even when you land, like the next day is probably going to be a little bit off. I think it's just going to play with your head. Somebody asked if I'm from Ohio or Louisiana. Ohio. Louisiana.
Ohio.
What?
Okay.
Where'd they get that from?
Ohio generates some really good offspring or whatever you call it. They generate some good people. The Paul brothers are from Ohio.
I'm from LeBron James's hometown, Akron, Ohio.
LeBron James.
Yeah.
Jake and Logan Paul, Ashley Cotwasser, Like there's some serious talent coming, and it's a city like I'd never really heard of. Akron. They're all from Akron.
Uh, well, LeBron is, but the Paul brothers are Northeast Ohio, so more in the Cleveland area. It's
Okay.
it's close to me. It's Northeast Ohio, but not the same city.
So yeah, raise your kids out there and give them the water.
Yeah. Ohio. Yes. Okay, let's talk about diet, because I could argue and say that's probably more important to stick with your diet
Yeah.
than the actual workout itself. So,
100%.
as we've discussed here on the podcast, people get it in their mind if they don't work out for 3 days, or if they have 50% intensity workout for 3 days, or out of the gym for 3 days and just doing a resistance band, that they're going to lose muscle in that period. No, you're not. You shouldn't anyway. You might feel a little like smaller due to inflammation going down, but you're not going to lose muscle in that period of time. However, if you are 3 days off your diet and you eat whatever, same can't be said. You're going to see a toll. There's going to be a toll taken.
Totally different.
So it's way more important, I would say, to stick close to your diet on your trip than to worry about getting in every workout at 100% intensity. Ideally, you would, right? That would be great. But I mean, let's be realistic here. Probably not. But I would say just make sure the diet is good. Okay. Now, depending on where you are in prep, there is some wiggle room with that. Okay. So if your coach says it's okay and you're like maybe 12 weeks out from a show, you might be able to just swap out your macros, make it easy. Just be like, okay, I'm eating 2,000 calories a day. As long as I stay under 2,000 calories during my trip, then I'm good. Meaning it's mostly protein, minimize empty calories, things like that. Keep it reasonable though. Don't be like, oh yeah, two 1,000 calorie milkshakes per day, and that's a great no. I would say you'd probably see some negative effects of that. But if you keep it reasonable, 2,000 calories, or just match your calories, or even you can try to match your macros. If you want to take it a step further, you can do that. And
yeah, I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's as long as you stay. And I would also say err on the side of less calories than more, because what happens is, especially when things aren't tracked, and let's say you're at the continental breakfast stand in your hotel, I'm pretty sure 99% of people will underestimate the calories they're eating rather than overestimate. I'm not going to tell someone to bring a freaking scale with them to breakfast and weigh out their grapes and like come on, we don't need to do that. I mean, if you really want to, I guess, but you will not see me do that. Like, I think that's a bit much. As long as you have a good idea of like eyeballing food, and I guess if you've done this for a while, like I have, I can estimate things pretty well. Some people can't. If you really want to weigh your food, go ahead. I would never tell someone to bring a scale with them and do that. That's me personally. I would say just be very cautious of the calories you're eating. Err on the side of less than more.
Yeah. Yeah, the numbers are approximately 40% underestimating on calories when people are doing a pure macro tracking, it's that's usually the estimate. That's why I like a clean eating plan for most people.
Right.
Like it's just, if you're going to be off on a clean eating plan, you're going to be off the same amount every time.
Yeah.
Versus, up to 40% it seems to be the numbers when they've tested this. So I'm a fan of, and if anything, if you're eyeballing, I would try to hit calories more so, that just makes it a little bit more freedom. And I want them to relax. And you got to remember too, guys, like when you're traveling, let's say we're talking about vacation. There's different scenarios. If you're actually traveling, it's a different scenario than if you're vacationing once a year traveling, right? Ashley, this is her job. So of course she has to be a lot better at it than most of you out there. And also it's so frequent that she has to be good. It's just, it's just too often for her not to figure it out. Right. So, but if it's once a year, what's the goal for while you're traveling? The goal isn't to progress that week, just let that week go as a non-progress week. The goal is just to kind of maintain, just kind of stay, like not gain body fat, just try. That's usually the goal. Now, if you want to keep leaning out into the week, you're going to have to be pretty much accurate on your diet, but just allow yourself that freedom that week to say, okay, I'm just trying to maintain this week. I'm just not trying to lose a month of progress because I went and ate everything I saw. I'm just trying to maintain, I'm not going to have the best data from my coach to make an accurate adjustment on the check-in next week anyways. Let's just try to maintain as close as we can. And, I had a check-in come in this morning. Girls in Mexico. She did an awesome job. She was up 0.6 pounds. I was like, I'm happy with that. I'm
Yeah.
cool with that. You know, we don't have the best data. She knows that. We just stick to what we did the week before and we keep going. But hey, 0.6 pounds, it's probably just water retention from extra sodium. And maybe what worst case scenario, let's say it's a half a pound of fat. Who cares? You know,
Mhm.
we'll lose that in 4 days. You know, so
Yeah.
no big deal, you know. So that's the goal for the vacation. So don't, you know, lose your mind and make this so unfun because you're sticking to it so rigorously that no one, like, you can't do anything. It doesn't need to be that crazy, you know. And I think people sometimes always kind of think that I say that or think that because I want people to stick to their diet. I'm like, you don't need to stick to the diet like crazy like the whole year. Off season, yeah, do a macro meal per day, match your calories, do a macro off season if you need to. As long as you're tracking everything, you're still checking in, we're keeping control of it, then we're going to be fine, you know?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, speaking of checking in, you can totally do that on vacation too if you feel like that helps you mentally. Some people prefer not to, some people do. I never pressure someone to do it unless they're like super close to a show. But it's one of those like things that like if it helps you like hold yourself accountable, check in. You don't have to include the weight though. But the good thing is if you do measurements, those little measuring tapes, they're so easy to pack.
yeah.
You know, doesn't take up much room, whereas a scale does. I would never do that. So that's just me though. So I would also say it's good idea to pack some of your own things as well. For me, I pack condiments, gum, stevia, drink mixes, things like that. And I think something that's really been helpful for me is I went on Amazon and I bought like a big box of like fat-free Italian dressings. I've bought like little hot sauce packets. So I bring those with me. And if I go to an airport, for example, if anything, I can just buy a salad there and use my own dressing because when we're thinking of salads and stuff like that, most of that calorie comes from the half cup of dressing they give
Yes.
you in that salad, right? It's
So
like a
crazy.
huge cup.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's the point of eating healthy if you're just drizzling pure fat
Yeah,
all
it's
over
like
it? Like,
1 tablespoon is like 120 calories, and there's like
yeah,
4 or 5 tablespoons.
yeah, they
It's
really
crazy.
overdo it with the
Yeah.
dressing, which I mean, good thing they're not skimping out on it. But at the same time, we don't really know what's in that, right? So at least for me, it's like I buy those little packets. I bring a handful with them with me. I gave Adam some too. Put it in your book bag in the little side pocket or something. And then just if anything, if you're in a pinch, just get a salad and just use your own dressings, use your own condiments because that's going to really dictate how many calories are in that meal. So that's a little hack for you guys. I bring gum, I bring sweetener packets, stevia. And I think it's also important too if you're traveling, what's likely to happen is you're probably not going to be as good with hydration just because you're going to be busy. Usually, when we're not in our house or we're up and about, we're not drinking as much just because we're doing things and we don't want to pee so much, right? I'm also guilty of this as well. When I'm traveling, I don't drink as much as I usually do. So one thing that can help you get that hydration in is if it's helpful for you to bring like crystal light packets or something like that to encourage water consumption, then do it, you know. But these are the items that I like to bring with me because they don't take up much room and they're sometimes hard to find depending on where you're at, you know. So like for example, when I go to Japan, I'm like, well, I don't know if they're going to have crystal light, I better bring my own so that I have my goodies, my water enhancers, my seasonings even, so that like whatever food I get there is I'm gonna like it because we already know I'm not gonna eat anything plain. So I have to sweeten it, I have to season it, all that good stuff.
Yeah. You know what? You got me on those dressings.
Yeah.
I bought a huge box of
Oh,
them.
did you buy them
Yeah,
too?
a huge box. I got a huge box of
Oh,
like the fat-free ranch. It's like 40 calories
oh,
a thing. It's a lot more too. It's
yeah.
like I want to say it's like 3 tablespoons in one of those packets. Like it's a
Really?
lot in there. Yeah.
Bring it with you this weekend.
Yeah, I will bring it with in Vancouver. But yeah, I use those. I go to, you know, what's funny is I don't eat enough greens. So I go to I live right next to Westgate. Like I can go to their parking lot, like from my house. It's outside the gate of my neighborhood. So I go there and I get like a big salad like twice a week because
Oh,
they have like a
that's
buffet.
cool.
Yeah, they have a buffet. They have like chicken breasts and big salad. I get as much salad as I want. And it's like $20, you know, so it's like, yeah, I mean, it's the way I like
Yeah.
going there and get a whole bunch of different shrimps and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, you see me with my packets. They're like, oh, hey, Adam.
Yeah.
They know me there.
See, there you go.
Yeah.
That's great. And you can also bring with you snacks and other non perishable items. Some of my items that I like to bring with me for snacks, plain food, because we don't want to buy no $7 protein bar at the airport.
Seriously.
That's ridiculous. So I just bring protein bars. I bring dried edamames, those are good. The dried edamames, sometimes they have like these cool 100-calorie packets for those, 100-calorie packets for nuts, for nut butters, because they will take that if you try to check in or if you try to put your peanut butter in the carry-on, they're going to take that. So those little packets keep everything in portion control. They're easy to travel with, but there's so many like different little helpful snacks you can find on Amazon that are travel friendly. And then if you're someone that likes fish, you can bring tuna packets with you. They even make like vegetable packs now too, where
Oh, I
you
didn't know
can
that.
bring riced cauliflower, you can bring riced broccoli, green beans, things like that. They come in little
In
packets.
the same type of little.
Yeah, but they're a little bit bigger packets. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's
hmm
actually new to me. Okay.
Yeah. And this is what you can do as well. If you buy one of those vegetable packets, you know what I like to do? I just freeze them and I use that as my cooler pack.
Okay. Cool.
And another thing you can do is use frozen water bottles as a cooler pack too, because that way you don't have to worry about bringing that big gel pack with you. And when you get there and the drink melts, you get your first drink. Because sometimes when you land, it's like, where's the water? You know. So that's another good tip for you guys as well. And when it comes to like frozen food, though, you can. I get this question a lot. You can put it on your carry on, but it has to be completely frozen for like things like the cooler packs and anything liquid. It has to be frozen. I've even brought yogurt on my carry-on before, but I had to freeze it. So frozen yogurt can go through, but regular yogurt can't. Now, if you want to check your luggage, that's a different story. You can bring whatever, you know. I've even brought like energy drink cans and stuff in my check-in. I was like, whatever. I know it's not going to be over. So if you have an extra room, go for it. But also research around if like once you land your hotel, does it have a grocery store? Is there a place you can get water, a gas station that you can walk to get some water? Things like that, super helpful, just to kind of be prepared so you're not just like, I landed, what do I do? Maybe another option for you is just to bring your own meat, like freeze it and put it in your check-in. And then when you get there, buy your lettuce and vegetables. You can do that too, because sometimes traveling with lettuce, if you eat lettuce, it's kind of gets smushed, you know? So that's another option you can do for yourself.
Yeah, look at that. A lot of tips there.
Yeah.
You travel so much. Is there any other ones that you know are for sure no go? Any nut butters? I've had that taken from me before, which
Yeah.
sucked. I had like a brand new one. I was so excited. I didn't know. It was like my first time I went through it. I was at an expo and I had like the nuts, like the American Dream or whatever it was, nut butter, and they had to take it. And they're like, yeah, you can't. It's a liquid. I was like, oh, I guess it is, right? Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
kind of
more of
is.
a pace, which is whatever.
Yeah, it's one
yeah.
of those whatever things. But any other ones like that that might catch people off guard that you know of?
No, just everything has to be. I mean, you know what? You could actually probably bring that nut butter. You just have to freeze
I
it.
had to freeze it.
So next time, just freeze it.
Yeah, I wonder how that would, because yeah, I wonder if coconut, if you could, can you freeze coconut oil too? People bring that a lot too.
Yeah, probably.
Probably, right?
But there's actually, I have like individual coconut packs for that. Every individual pack stuff is the best for travel.
It's a weird concept, right? It doesn't make any sense. I always thought about that because you can't bring a jar of peanut butter, but you can bring 10 packets of peanut butter. It's the same thing, right?
I
It's
know.
like it doesn't make any sense. 1 ounce 10 times is fine, but 10 ounces, no way, man, no way.
And another thing I have to tell you guys is something called a Hot Logic Mini. Oh my gosh,
You love that
it's a
thing.
game changer. So, with the Hot Logic Mini, okay, so hotel rooms, let's say about 33% of them have mini fridges, maybe 50%. I don't know. You need to make sure that you research, though, that your hotel has a mini fridge or request one. That's clutch. You need that for sure. But most hotel rooms won't have a microwave. And I don't know about you, but I do not want to go to the one lobby every time I have to eat to heat something up. And I'm not that hardcore where I'm going to eat something frozen either. Like, no thanks. Hot Logic Minis are great. It's like a little lunchbox that you plug in, and they have like a USB type. They have a plug type. They have even a kind that you can put in your car to warm up in the little lighter part. They are amazing because you just plug it in, bring your little container, warm up your food, and in 5 to 10 minutes, it's warm. And the great thing is it doesn't take up much room. It's more travel friendly than bringing your own microwave, right? But another cool thing is you can actually pack your frozen foods into that and just use that as a lunchbox till you get there, unload your food into the mini fridge, and then use your Hot Logic Mini to cook up or heat up your food, I should say. Another option would be they make these little mini rice cookers. They make mini skillets, mini Georgia Foremans. They're like so cute where it holds just like maybe like a cup, just like one little cup, and you just put your meal. You can heat it up that way too. I just find the Hot Logic Mini to be more practical because it's like it can also carry your food as well. It can transport it to um, your destination
Yeah.
in your check-in.
It's like a 6-pack bag kind of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
yeah,
You know what? I had a client, it was a couple years ago. I forget who it was, but they had a mini air fryer too, like a tiny
yeah.
little
That's
cute
so
little air fryer.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah. I was like, what is that? Like, she's like, yeah, it's an air
Yeah.
fryer. It was like this big. It's
yeah.
so cute.
So things like that, like if you're unable to bring any food and you have to cook it in your hotel room, it seems a bit extreme to me. But hey, let's say you're traveling for a show, you can cook it in an air fryer or a skillet. You can't cook it in a Hot Logic Mini though, because the Hot Logic Mini is just for warming it up.
Like prolonged microwave, essentially.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So yeah, so a couple more. I like this. So this is my kind of girl here. Aurora says, what she says, it says, how bad do you want it, people? People will make it happen no matter what if they really want to have a successful
I
season.
like that.
I like that type of, that's our type of girl right there.
Yeah, that's who we're talking to. You know,
It's not going to come easy, this sport, guys. It's
Yes.
not going to be easy or convenient. It's going to push, you're going to push it to the extremes. You're going to have some times where you have to say, no, I don't want that, or no, I do want that. I can't have that right now. That's just comes along with it. If you think you're going to get to the high levels, not having some inconveniences, you are not thinking clearly. No sport works that way. All right.
Absolutely. So, is there any other good questions that we can answer right now?
No, but it's just about preparation. You know, even Cassandra here says she's going to a metal festival.
Medieval.
No, metal.
Oh, it's metal.
Yeah, like rocker,
Oh.
like she's a
Why
rocker.
did I read it medieval?
Yes.
I don't know.
Look at her. That's cool. And she said she double checked, make sure she's bringing her air fryer, that there's an extra fridge and microwave in the room. You can even ask for an extra fridge in advance. Like that's the things you got to be doing if you're wanting to stick on plans. So yeah, so reading other questions, a lot of comments about little tips here and there. There's one in here that said epic mints, which I didn't know. Oops, someone asked a question here. I put the wrong one in. Epic mints on Amazon, only 2 calories per serving, and they're good. Look,
There
to try
you
that
go.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah,
These
that's great.
these Amazon finds. I found I put it on my Instagram yesterday. These like slushy makers. I gotta tell you, it's not a sponsored, it's nothing like that, but you basically pour your Diet Coke into it, it's frozen, and then you just like go like this, you like squeeze it, and it just turns it into a slushy for protein shakes or whatever. Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier. So that's a nice find. It's on my Instagram.
Yes,
so
that's probably not a travel thing though. Just to
No,
clarify,
not to clarify.
because you would need a very cold freezer for that.
Oh yeah, you would. It would
Yeah.
get to
Well, some of these hotels do have that, but not all. I find that most of the time when they have a fridge in the hotel, it's like a mini fridge that just keeps food like chilled but not frozen. But sometimes you'll luck out. Sometimes.
Yeah. And you know what? It's another thing we should mention while traveling is make sure 2 things that happen in the refrigerator at the hotel. This has happened to me for multiple clients and myself. Make sure your refrigerator is at the right temperature. Sometimes it's too warm and they turn it way down, and then you put your food in there and the next day it's bad because it wasn't cold enough. And sometimes they put it all the way over and actually freezes the food and you can't eat it. So you do have to, I would say your first day there, check your refrigerator temperature and make sure that it's the right temperature. That happens a lot. It actually has a surprising amount. It's happened to me a couple of times where they had it all the way low because they're trying to save energy, I guess, which makes sense. And then you throw your food and they're not thinking about it. And the next day your chicken's bad or whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's like 4 of my meals. Like it's annoying. So yeah. And then one other tip I found too with carbs, it was an easy one. If you want to save space while traveling, just go to a local Chinese food place and you can get steamed rice there and just buy the steamed rice from there. That's another option too, versus, bringing it yourself if you're wanting to save space or just have something fresh. And a lot of times the Chinese places too will do steamed chicken, which is cool. Steamed chicken and veggies.
Yeah.
Like almost all of them. I've
Ask
never had
for no sauce or sauce on side so you can control it. Because sometimes I made this mistake. I ordered steamed vegetables from a Chinese place and I didn't realize that they coated it with some sort of sweet sauce gravy thing. And I'm like, I just wanted it plain. So sauce on side.
Yeah. So that's I've never ran into a place, a Chinese food place when I was traveling where that wasn't available, where they said, no, I don't do steamed chicken breast. So
Mhm.
yeah, so worked
Yeah,
out well.
absolutely. And I think something to be noted as well, sometimes with these vacations, you know, you're so distracted about being busy doing activities, sightseeing, whatever the case may be, that you're not even hungry. And I would say in that case, like if your workouts aren't 100% and or you're taking a deload or you're doing some hotel band workouts, don't feel like you have to eat it if you're not hungry for it. Does that make sense? Because you're probably not putting that same caloric output as you would be on your regular week. So, for example, let's say my calories at 2000, but that's under the assumption I'm doing my weekly cardio. My workouts are 100% intense 6 days a week. Now, we gotta be realistic. If I'm in a hotel gym, it's probably not going to be 100% like normal intense workouts. So if that's the case, I would just say if you're not hungry, don't feel obligated to like force feed yourself when you're not hungry. Just think of it as like, well, your body might be just saying like we don't need it. So I guess that also depends on the person as well. Like, are you in the rare scenario you're traveling and you're 2 weeks out from a show and you're way too lean, then yeah, you got to eat. Sorry. But I would say don't feel like you are obligated to eat everything. I would say use calories as a limit, not a minimum. Like, does that make
Yeah,
sense?
that makes sense. Especially, I get what you're saying. Especially if someone is going from an hour of cardio a day, a hard intense workout, to just relaxing on the beach. That's a
Right.
different calorie output. So yeah, adjusting accordingly. That's a good rule of thumb. Eat when you're
Mhm.
hungry in a scenario like that. You know what? One more tip came in actually on Instagram. I am getting the messages on Instagram. Jenny Chapman said, "When I travel, I always place an order in advance with a meal prep company. So convenient, and it saves her a bunch of money."
That's
Good,
smart.
good. You
See?
mentioned that one. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So,
Very
and
smart.
yeah, and honestly, while traveling, you're going to spend so much more money. It might as well, it makes sense to just have the meal prep company in it. And I will say too, if you plan it right, they'll deliver your meal prep like the night before. You can kind of, some of these meal prep companies have that where you can kind of schedule it the night before and send it to your hotel room. So
Good
yeah,
tip. Good tip. Thank you.
yeah, for sure. So moving on, I had one more question actually. I'm sorry. It said, Amber said, any tips for managing digestion while on vacation, which is something that I will struggle with sometimes too if I don't prepare right, because you're not eating the same foods that you're used to eating. You're not at your house. You're not
You're not
getting things.
drinking as
Not
much.
drinking. That's where I suffer. I need to get catch me this weekend. I got to make sure I get my waters in. I got to drink if I bring my Mio water flavoring, I'll drink enough water. If I don't, I won't. And it's so bad. It's like criminal. I should be drinking water plain all the time. But anyway,
And bring your own water bottle too, so you don't have to spend $15 for a quart of water at the airport.
yeah, I hate that. Makes me so mad. I won't drink water just in defiance of that. Like, like I know I need it, but I'm not spending $8 at a casino for water or an airport for water. Like I'm like, I can't physically do it. I just can't accept being ripped off, even if it's $8.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
But one thing that I'll do is bring extra psyllium husk tabs. I also drink kefir every morning and with my coffee. And that helps me with my digestion too on every morning. So when I don't have that, I'll bring probiotics too. So those are some things that I've never been good at getting all my vegetables in while traveling. So I'll bring psyllium husk and just bring extra psyllium husk. And if I need that to get some fiber in a couple of times a couple of days while I'm traveling, really makes a big difference if I bring that or forget it. So that would
Good
be,
tip.
yeah, that'd be my way around it.
Mm-hmm.
So going on to the next thing you're talking about is just staying consistent, right?
Yeah, to stay consistent as much as possible. Now, it's kind of unrealistic to, 100% consistent, but do the best you can. And I think a big takeaway is like, don't stress so much. We tend to be really hard on ourselves. If you like, let's say you missed a workout, you slept in, and now your RV tours are taken out without you. It's okay. Like a few workouts miss isn't going to hurt you. A few extra calories here and there or something off isn't going to hurt you as much as people think, but you just got to be aware of it and, maybe even make up for it later down the road. But don't stress so much. As long as you're doing the best you can to stay as consistent as possible, don't sweat the small stuff, okay? It's in the grand scheme of things, think about the bigger picture and every all the work you did leading up to that and leading up to your show, sometimes like that little like, oh, I missed a workout. It's not going to matter. Just make sure you're aware of it and try not to let it happen as much. But don't stress. Don't stress.
Yeah, I think that you have that right, and we have to be realistic. There's three things. There's like two or three things in there. One of them is I never want people to lose the fun of fitness because they're competing. That's what I think kills people the most and gets them out of the sport more than anything. Is they go from one lifestyle to a completely different lifestyle. And I'm like, if you were just kind of in the middle, you'd be here for 10 years, you know? And so what happens, I think, is that you do fitness for a while, for let's say, you know, whatever, 3 years, 4 years, like, I think I'm going to do a competition. And you would never miss a gym workout in your life. You'd never miss a day. You love it. You can't wait to get to the gym. It's your place of peace of mind, right? Everything is just great there. And then it starts turning into more of a job at a certain point if you're not having fun with it and you're like putting too much pressure on yourself. You're on vacation. And now instead of you before, you would have been like, oh, I'll work out maybe if they have a gym. And if not, no big deal. And now you're like, I have to work out. I have to work out. And that stress makes it more less fun, makes it more of a task. And then when the show's done, you're kind of like, I'm just done for a while. Right. And that's what happens with people. So I think the takeaway that you're saying is just, it still has to just keep it fun and keep it so like where it's still not a job, you know, keep it where it's not like I have to do this type of mentality versus I get to do this mentality and I want to do this mentality. And I think that's where people kind of go off the rails and then they start hating it. You know, they start not
Right.
liking it and they disappear. And so when you're on vacation, yeah, you know, if you can, you're not going to lose a lot of muscle if you take 3 days off of working out. You're not going to lose any muscle if you take 3 days of working out. It's going to take you like 2 weeks of not working out to really start losing some muscle. It takes a long time, guys. You got to remember the human body is not designed to just fall apart because you didn't lift weights for a couple of days. It's the way that we see things is, oh, I lift weights to get bigger muscles, right? And we need to do that every day to get these bigger muscles. But the way the body sees things is, oh, Adam is going to lift weights at some point at 100 pounds times 10 times. So I need to be prepared for that. Whenever he does that again, I need to be prepared for that. And it's going to take, the body's going to say, it's going to take me a while of not doing that, where I say, okay, maybe I don't need to be prepared for that as I need to be, and I'm going to have less muscle. So the body is not thinking the way that you're thinking about the body. It's going to take some time. So for you to lose muscle. So nothing to worry about on that. You know, just make it fun, you know?
Absolutely. I'm seeing comments here that people have their own little hacks. A lot of people are saying they have hot plates, everything that they bring. So some people are already ahead of the game with that. Somebody said, I vacuum seal all my prep food, then freeze it for flying. Then I don't have to bring freezer packs. I love that idea. And I would even say, if you're not busy one weekend, you have a few extra hours, just do that ahead of time for whenever you do travel, and they're good to have in case of emergency anyway. I know that must be super controversial because apparently we caused a little storm by me saying if you have a few extra hours one weekend, put some extra food in the back, prep some food and throw it in the back of your freezer.
Man.
Caused a lot of controversy apparently.
The mindset, man, the mindset. You'll never be successful with that mindset. It's so funny.
But that's good. That's really smart. The vacuum seal, I need to look into that.
You know what? It's funny. You know what's funny? I give the worst presents. Like any other husband would be crucified for the presents I give Kimber. But I got her, like, I get her so many like food and diet related presents. Like the other day I just brought her a present. I like brought her like a scale. And I'm like, any other scenario, you bring your wife a scale and you're gonna be getting in trouble for that, right? I'm like, but I don't even think about it. But I bought her that. I bought her the vacuum seal stuff.
Good.
I don't know what, you know, what do you get this woman? She's fit. She's got everything she needs. You buy her diet and stuff. You know,
I need to get one.
So yeah.
I've just been doing Ziplocs.
No,
I'm like,
great.
I need to get with the times.
I bought her and it came with all these different size bags, like big bags, small bags. And so when she travels, she'll get usually the medium bag and put all of her food in it and then just vacuum seal it, freeze it. And it's like for real, legit ice pack. And it takes a long time to thaw out because there's so much of it, you know, so much ice in it, or, you know, chicken that's like frozen. And it's like, it really sucks it down. That's so great. It's a cool thing. You probably get it on Amazon. I got it at the mall out here, but yeah, those are some, it makes it really convenient, and they wash and you just repeat it. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. With the food bringing too, like, you know, I'm not saying you have to bring your whole, depending on where you are in prep, like you don't have to bring your whole, like, oh, here's a week's worth of food, but even some substitution meals, you know, to kind of get you by until you go out to dinner and stuff. Cause, you know, especially like if it's a trip for a vacation, like, you know, you want to enjoy some dinners out and stuff, but it's nice to have those to substitute some like some of the meals that you would be eating during the day until dinner anyway. So, yeah, I like that. That's a
Yeah.
good idea. All
Yeah.
right.
I'll send you a picture of which one she has.
Okay.
And then on the last thing, make sure that you are, getting your sleep in still. Make sure you're prioritizing your recovery and everything too.
Absolutely. It's very, very important. As we all know, it's almost like obvious,
Yeah.
but very important. And it does make it a little difficult with jet lag and going through different time zones and stuff, but do the best you can, you know?
Yeah, the jet lag, that's the one thing. I always say I love the East Coast. Like I love Florida is probably my second favorite place besides Vegas is probably Florida. But getting there is what I hate about it because I'm only there for like 3 days. And so I've never fully recovered when I'm there. But I do love the spot. I do love that spot. But yeah, the 3 hours gets me. That time zone gets me.
Yeah,
So
sure does. Is there any other good questions or comments to
yeah,
address?
any other questions, guys? Now would be the time for any of these questions or any tips that you want to leave for anyone else. Now would be the time. Oh, look at this. Here's a tip. Look at this. Costco, of course, Costco always has the vacuum sealers in bags.
Oh,
Thanks, Amanda. Well, that's going to
thank
help out
you.
some people. Yeah, that is really convenient. And those bags, you can stick them in the dishwasher too. It's crazy these what they have these days on this stuff.
Mhm.
So, all right, we are looking at for any more tips. If not, I think that's it, guys.
Mm,
Nope. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you guys so much for everything. We appreciate you listening. Sorry, we'll not be here next Monday. We'll be traveling, but we'll be back with the following week. But I'll have some videos on my YouTube. Ashley's going to have some content she's going to put out, I'm sure, on her Instagrams and stuff. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you later.
No, I'm not from Shreveport.